So during a corporate strategy meeting, Sony said PlayStation 4 is entering the end of its life cycle, and they're letting investors know that they expect a continued drop-off in sales. So for example, they're estimating that they're going to sell 16 million PS4s this year compared to 19 million last year. They're also telling investors to prepare for a downturn in profit for their game and network services division for the fiscal year ending in 2021. They also mentioned that between now and 2021 would be the time where PlayStation will, quote, crouch down so that they can stand taller in the future. Now, nobody knows exactly what that means, but if I had to guess, I would say that that means that they're going to start slowing down and prepping for the launch of the next system, which would likely be PlayStation 5. And it may also be why Sony was trying to say something. They're going to try something new this year at E3, focused primarily on in-depth walkthroughs of like 4 major titles that they have coming out. Now, that's not to say that they're going to stop making games or supporting the PlayStation 4. It's not saying that at all. And I'm not even one of those who believes that they're only going to show 4 games from Sony at E3. I mean, for instance, they've got Days Gone, which they've been releasing a ton of footage for. Why wouldn't they show that at E3? It makes no sense. So yes, I think we're going to see more than just 4 games from Sony at E3, but they're going to focus on those 4, and they've still got a lot of major behemoth titles coming out for the system, but they're certainly looking ahead to the future. And none of this is surprising in the least. I mean, it's just as far as I know, the first official confirmation from Sony that they're saying that they're winding it down. So, of course, again, PS4 isn't going to be discontinued anytime soon, and it's going to continue to sell well, even if it's selling less. Common sense tells you that that's what would happen because the system launched in 2013, so of course sales are going to go down eventually. But one area that is going to continue to grow that PlayStation is now focused on is growing PlayStation Network, which they announced should make up quite a bit of the difference for the lost hardware sales, because they said they've gone from 70 million active monthly users on PlayStation Network to now hitting 80 million monthly users a year later. So they can continue to expect that to be part of the business that will grow and to offset the declining hardware sales. Sony also said they're going to continue to invest in first-party exclusives. They're looking at brand new IPs and also rehashing current IPs. They did also note that PlayStation VR, which you don't hear a whole lot about anymore with any VR system, they admit that it's not growing at the level that they had projected. They also admit that PlayStation Vue, Sony's TV streaming service, is also running into problems. They're having tough competition that's causing much slower than anticipated growth. In another story that just recently broke, and until it's officially confirmed, consider it just a rumor, but Eurogamer, which usually has pretty good reporting on this type of stuff, they are reporting that a principal programmer at Sony associated with the Advanced Technology Group has been working with AMD on Ryzen technology. Ryzen, of course, being one of the newest generation CPUs from AMD, something that some Xbox fans were hoping would actually make its way into the Xbox One X, but of course it didn't, and it was new, so they didn't have a whole lot of time to plan for that. But planning for a new console means having the tech available at the time of drawing up a blueprint so you can go ahead and implement it in the future. So they are working with Ryzen's first generation CPU. Now, if this does go into the system, they do end up implementing it. Of course, by the time PS5 comes out, there, of course, is already going to be a new Ryzen out on the PC market. But I mean, that's the way it goes. I don't think they're ever going to go back to the days of being ahead in the PC, you know, in anything. But Ryzen would still be a huge jump over the current weak CPUs found in both the PS4 and the Xbox. And I think it would almost certainly mean you're going to see a lot fewer games running at 30 frames per second. Another thing that I think you can almost guarantee and bet on would be that PS5 is going to be backwards compatible. PS4 tech and PS5 tech are going to be much closer in line with each other than was the case with PS3 and PS4. So PS4 had, huge success, having huge success. I do not see Sony leaving that group behind. And with Microsoft promoting their backwards compatibility, I think it's going to help push Sony to respond, in my opinion. It doesn't make sense for them not to, because it just helps the sales, just like it's helped sell old games for Microsoft. So when will we see the next PlayStation unveiled? Nobody knows for sure. Don't look at it for E3 this year, because Sony's already made a statement saying that no new hardware will be shown at E3 this year. But let's be real, Sony isn't having its hand forced. They don't have to launch a new system anytime soon. They are miles ahead in the lead when it comes to sales. Nobody's even close to touching them. And they're still pretty much every month at the top or close to the top when it comes to console sales. So they're going to end up moving on their own terms and timeline, which is really the position you want to be in. So if I had to just guess, I think it's going to come out in 2020. I think, that sounds like a really good year. So PlayStation 5, 2020. I also think that you'll see the next details on it. Maybe even they'll officially announce it in 2019 and then roll it out in 2020. And that gives them plenty of time to do the research and development, gives them plenty of time for prices to drop on the components, and gives them plenty of time to get a launch lineup ready to go. So some of these big behemoths, I wouldn't be surprised if they get pushed back until the PlayStation 5 eventually comes out. But that's just my take on it. So if you want to read more, be sure to check out videogamesandnews.com, VGN, and follow the links in the description box. Post your thoughts down below on all this. That does it for me, the Red Dragon. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Are you listening? Damn.